Our hero is a handsome high school student who has recently transferred to a new school. He is a quiet and silent student all the time, and because of his mystery and good looks that attract girls, he is subjected to severe bullying and beatings, but he loses his mind and shows his true character, as he was training in boxing, to protect his friends, so he eliminates them without mercy. In a coastal town outside Gongji in 2017, a calm, cute-looking cat appears wandering on top of a small kiosk roof, meowing quietly. One student points to another student and describes him as weird because he walks alone and isolated. A student wonders why Jigon gets this nickname, so his classmate answers that he's a transfer student who never talks. The first student explains that it's not just about his silence, but that he's completely immersed in this silence, which puzzles his friend, who asks what that means. Meanwhile, a speeding car rushes through one of the town's streets, and suddenly, Jigon appears directly in front of it, causing the driver to panic and scream loudly while trying to control the car and stop it with difficulty. After stopping, the driver curses and yells angrily at the student, "Do you think you have an extra life?" But the student stands calmly without any reaction, while the man asks him if he wishes to die. One of the students watching the situation notices something strange. The cute cat that appeared at the beginning passes by Jigon's feet and meows quietly. Then the two students realize that Jigon acted this way to save the cat that was crossing the road. But the driver gets angrier and accuses him of trying to scam him. Another student laughs, commenting that even in a situation like this, he doesn't say even one word, adding that he seems to have a serious condition that makes him silent all the time. Suddenly, a girl rushes toward the accident scene and asks the driver to wait a moment. She approaches Jigon and asks him with concern, "Gee, are you okay?" The driver responds angrily, explaining that the student suddenly jumped in front of his car to cause trouble. The girl seems a bit confused and says the student had a reason for his behavior, but doesn't explain it. Then she bows deeply and apologizes to the driver and begs him to forgive him just this once. Her cute facial expressions, as she repeats her request, calm the driver's anger a little. The two students watching from afar comment on the girl's intervention, with one describing her as the queen of the 5th class and the other saying that Jigon troubles others around him. Then he picks up the small street cat and jokingly asks if it agrees with him. But the cat suddenly lets out an angry and loud scream unexpectedly, attacks the student and scratches his face. The student screams in pain and shock, wondering why. At that moment, a girl with a cold look passes by calmly. The injured student feels embarrassed seeing her, and while lying on the ground, greets the girl called Aram with a smile. But Aram looks at him with a cold, emotionless stare and continues on her way without turning back, leaving him confused and frustrated. The student comments on Aram's mysterious and cold personality, while the other injured student finds her attractive despite that. The other responds angrily, saying he feels like she ignores them on purpose. The student explains that Aram is very shy and introverted, which is why she rarely talks. His friend is surprised that she doesn't talk either and compares her to the silent student Jigon, but the other strongly rejects the comparison. The students continue walking to school, discussing what happened. In the classroom, Jigon sits silently amid the students' noise and chatter. He recalls the words and comments said about him in painful moments, and a look of sadness and deep emotion appears on his face. Two girls approach him, and one takes a picture of him with her phone, expressing her admiration. Then she comments that since he came to school a month ago, he's been practicing the same meditation routine daily. She shows him the picture and tells him he can delete it if he doesn't like it, and asks him not to hesitate because she helped him before. The girl thanks him with a nice smile for letting her keep the picture. Suddenly, the classroom door opens forcefully, and a large-bodied student known as Pseudo enters, a notorious bully. Pseudo gives a sharp look toward Jigon and his classmates. Then he turns to the side to hear the two girls' conversation about the picture, where one asks the other to send it to her via the KakaoTalk app. Pseudo approaches Jigon with a mocking smile, commenting on the atmosphere, then mocks him for being surrounded only by girls, saying he looks like a girl. Pseudo grabs Jigon's hand forcefully and mocks its softness, saying it resembles a girl's hand. He squeezes his hand harder, mocks its softness again, and says he might fall in love with him because of it. Jigon remains silent and sad, without any reaction. But the girl intervenes and asks Pseudo to stop because it's not funny at all. Pseudo continues bullying Jigon, mockingly, touching his head, saying the reason he bothers him is his cute appearance. Then, Pseudo turns to student Yena and asks why she didn't come to the club room as he requested. Yena responds calmly and coldly that she already told him she was tired and wanted to sleep early, asking if he could understand this reason. Pseudo responds with annoyance, saying she should have come because her boyfriend called and waited for her a long time. He insists she shouldn't skip again, while Yena dismisses him, saying she'll see about it later. Siu moves away, and one of the students quickly prepares a chair for him. Siu sits relaxed and puts his feet on the table. Classes at school continue normally. During PE class, students play ball with great enthusiasm. Jigon sits tired after the game, watching silently from afar. Yena approaches him complaining about the heat and asks if he feels hot too. Then she sits next to him and tries to cool the air with her small fan, asking if that helps. Yena smiles at Jigen and asks how he feels, but he maintains his usual silence. Yena laughs lightly at his continued silence, commenting that he really never talks. Meanwhile, on the field, Pseudo plays in the game and someone shouts that the ball is his. One student asks him to pass the ball, saying he'll handle it, while Pseudo notices what's happening between Jigen and Yena. The other student kicks the ball very hard, trying to pass it, but it suddenly hits Pseudo's face directly. Pseudo is hurt by the strong impact in front of everyone, shocking his classmates. The student who kicked the ball apologizes profusely, afraid of Pseudo's reaction. Pseudo gets angry, saying his head was badly hurt, but suddenly changes his behavior and pretends he's not bothered, smiling, and saying they should continue playing and that he wasn't paying attention. Despite his smile, an angry and scary look appears in his eyes as he stares at the scene behind him. Elsewhere, Jigen appears, lying on a bench on the school roof, with a drink and snack beside him. Suddenly, the roof door opens violently. The student who hit the ball in Pseudo's face runs terrified and apologizes again with his hair shaved in the middle, begging for forgiveness. But Pseudo appears carrying an electric razor, clearly threatening the student. Pseudo laughs mockingly, saying he just wants to cut his hair nicely, while the student trembles with fear. The student screams again, apologizing and saying it wasn't intentional. Pseudo and his friends approach him angrily, and Pseudo threatens him, saying he needs to taste blood before returning to his senses. The student gives up fearfully and bows on the ground under Pseudo's threat. At that moment, one of Pseudo's followers notices Jigen sitting nearby and starts walking toward him, but Jigon suddenly grabs his arm, surprising the student who screams, drawing everyone's attention. Pseudo is surprised to see Jigon and asks if he's eating lunch alone in this place. Pseudo returns to the scared student carrying the razor, ready to carry out his threat. He says mockingly that he's about to create a masterpiece and asks everyone to watch him. Pseudo turns on the razor and starts shaving the poor student's head cruelly, while the students around him laugh mockingly and make fun of the student, describing the scene as a wonderful work of art. Pseudo shows off the ridiculous haircut he made for the student and displays it proudly in front of Jigen. The haircut looks pitiful and funny, causing the student severe shame and embarrassment. Pseudo and his friends mock Jigen, who remains calm and shows no reaction. Then Pseudo turns to Jigen and tells him mockingly that he doesn't seem impressed with his art, adding that a good model is necessary for great artwork, and that appearance matters too. Pseudo smiles coldly and tells Jigen he's perfect as a model. He gets closer to Jigen's face, holding the electric razor, and asks if he can turn him into a work of art too. But Pseudo hesitates for a moment when he sees no reaction from Jigen and asks if he really doesn't mind. Since Ji remains silent without answering, Pseudo assumes he agrees. He starts moving the razor toward Jai's head, mocking and threatening him, but Jigen stays firm, showing no fear even with the razor approaching his head. Pseudo smiles a scary smile and warns Jigen to watch himself. He raises the razor more and warns him again not to cross the line, but Pseudo suddenly backs off, saying he can't do it because the girls would be very angry if he messed with Jigen. Pseudo leaves with his friends laughing mockingly. The student with the half-shaved head remains sitting, feeling severely humiliated and frustrated by what happened. Then the student takes a picture of himself with his phone and decides to keep the picture as evidence, saying angrily that if they were going to shave his head, they should have at least finished the job instead of leaving him in this ridiculous state. The embarrassed student falls silent, staring sadly at the picture he took as evidence. Then he approaches Jigen and asks him curiously why he didn't laugh at him like the others, saying he wouldn't have minded even if he did. Jigen looks at him silently without response. The student says he expected Jigen to be different, and that he's really a person unlike others. Then the student leaves thanking Jigen, commenting that if he were in his place, he probably would have laughed too. After that, heavy rain starts falling on the school. Students begin leaving complaining about the sudden rain, and some try to find umbrellas for shelter. Some students run in the streets under the rain, while others use their umbrellas. Meanwhile, student Aram stands quietly under the rain, holding her umbrella, appearing lost in thought. An expression of sadness appears on Aram's face as she stands quietly under the rain. At the same time, Ji walks alone under the rain without an umbrella. Suddenly, some students call out to him from a distance. They approach and tell Ji that Sayudo wants to see him and ask him to come with them. Ji goes with them to find Sayudo, waiting for him in a dark place under the rain, surrounded by a group of students. Sayudo mocks Jigen, saying he still looks handsome even under the rain. Yena suddenly appears and angrily screams at Sayudo, scolding him for bringing Jigen there. Sayudo responds calmly, pretending he just wanted to make sure of something. Then he throws a phone onto the wet ground in front of Jigen. The phone shows Jigen's picture as the wallpaper on Yina's phone, and Sayudo demands to know why his picture is there. Jigen stands silently without responding. Sayudo now says angrily that he doesn't understand why Yina chose Jigen's picture. Yina screams in her defense, saying she only used it because it looked nice and not for any other reason. Sayudo mocks her explanation, refusing to believe it's just a matter of taste or mood. Yina quickly tells Jigen to leave, saying this matter doesn't concern him and they'll meet at school tomorrow. She smiles at Jigen and urges him to go quickly. Meanwhile, Sayudo talks to Yina with sarcasm and contempt, saying it's obvious that all girls prefer Jigen and are attracted to him. Yina explodes with anger, screaming at him to stop and not cross the line. Suddenly, Sayudo slaps Yina hard across the face. The mark of the slap appears on Yina's shocked face, and blood starts dripping from her mouth. Jigen watches everything silently, without showing any clear reaction. But Jigen seems shocked, seeing the blood that splattered on his face from Yina's slap. Signs of intense anger appear in his eyes as he watches what's happening in silence. Sayudo stands over Yina and screams angrily, accusing her of betraying him with his friend. Then, Sayudo approaches Ji and smiles wickedly, saying he suspects Yina likes him and asks if Jigen already knew that. He continues, provoking him, mocking Yina and asking Jigen if he's interested in her too. She's beautiful, but quick to anger. Then he tells Jigen with extreme sarcasm that if he's honest with him, he'll even allow him to date her. He suddenly screams in his face angrily, demanding an answer. At that moment, Yina starts speaking weakly, scolding Sayudo for calling himself her boyfriend despite his bad behavior and staying out with other girls. Sayudo screams angrily, defending himself, saying he apologized for that before. Yina tells him firmly that he no longer deserves to be her boyfriend, and that it's over between them. Sayudo loses control and hits her again violently. At that moment, Ji's anger deepens, and it seems he's starting to lose control of himself. Yina lies on the ground in pain from the blow and struggles to get up with great difficulty. She speaks to Sayudo bitterly, telling him this is really the end and calling herself crazy for ever dating him. Sayudo grabs her forcefully, screaming angrily that she doesn't have the right to end things without his permission. Then he decides to settle the matter with violence and tries to hit her again. At that moment, Jigen suddenly intervenes and grabs Sayudo's arm before he can hit Yina again. Sayudo is shocked by Ji's intervention and angrily asks what he's doing. He glares at Jigen with hatred, screaming his name with clear anger. Sayudo erupts saying, "Now everything is clear. I was right, and you're really interested in her." He rushes toward Jigen with all his strength, reminding him that he already warned him not to cross the line. Then he threw a powerful punch directly at Jigen's face. Sayudo mocks Jigen's strength, saying he's nothing compared to him. Suddenly, mysterious memories flash in Jigen's mind, and a strange voice screams in his head to regain consciousness. His eyes begin to glow, unnaturally, while intense anger appears on his face. Jigen plants his feet firmly on the ground, ready to respond. He gets up and seems ready to face Sayudo again. Sayudo's anger increases, and he decides to use his full strength to finish off Jigen. He delivers a very powerful blow to Jigen's body, but Jigen withstands the blow in an unnatural way, his glowing eyes shining as he faces the attack directly. Amazed by Jigen's strange ability to endure, Sayudo asks in disbelief, "What the hell is wrong with this guy?" Sayudo tries to attack Jigen again, screaming angrily and demanding he die, but Ji calmly dodges the blow and delivers a tremendously powerful strike to Sayudo. Sayudo receives a powerful punch directly to his face from Jigen. He falls to the ground from the force of the blow, completely losing his balance. His body lies motionless on the ground under the rain. Sayudo's friends are shocked and scream, asking what just happened. Yina, who is still sitting on the ground and affected, looks at Jigen and calls his name in disbelief. Sayudo slowly gets up, coughing and cursing angrily from the effect of the punch. But Jigen doesn't give him time to recover and hits him with a devastating blow to the chest. Sayudo's friends' anger increases and they decide to intervene, saying Jigen is asking for trouble, but Jigen moves quickly and powerfully, hitting one of them in the face with brutal force. Another friend tries to attack Ji, but Jigen easily dodges the blow. Then he responds with a fierce strike that knocks the attacker to the ground. One of the friends, overcome with anger and despair, grabs a metal rod, ready to attack Ji. He waves it violently toward Ji, but Ji succeeds in blocking the attack and delivers a crushing kick to his opponent, who falls immediately. The friend falls to the ground in pain, unable to move. Everyone is stunned by Jigen's crushing power, and they start asking fearfully, who is he really? Even Sayudo himself repeats the question in shock and confusion. Jigen stands tall under the rain, looking at them powerfully, with his head raised in great confidence. Then he rushes toward Sayudo and throws him to the ground violently. Sayudo's face receives a series of painful and violent punches brutally. Jigen continues beating him mercilessly in a savage and frightening way. The scene shows Jigen's relentless attack as he completely dominates the situation. Suddenly, Ina rushes toward Jigen and hugs him from behind, screaming and begging him to stop. Jigen finally stops delivering blows, panting and struggling to catch his breath. At that moment, lightning illuminates the rainy sky, adding to the drama and tension of the moment. Ji stands exhausted and drained in the rain, signs of fatigue and exhaustion clearly visible on his face. Ina was looking at Ji with worry and sadness, whispering his name quietly, but Ji didn't look back. He continued walking silently, gripping his bag tightly on his shoulder. He walked alone under the rain, moving away from the scene without showing any reaction or interest in those behind him. Behind him, one of the students sat shocked and unbelieving, saying fearfully he was insane. As for Yina, she was still sitting on the ground, in a state of shock and questioning, trying to comprehend how Ji was able to do what he did. Some students began to realize that something different was hiding behind Jigen's silence, as if a deep darkness always surrounded him. Before all this, while Jigen was walking, a voice called out to him from a distance. A girl named Aram had heard someone calling Ji, telling him that Pseudo wants to see him and asking him to follow them. While one of them was walking with him, he wondered if Ji had done something to anger Pseudo to this extent. Another advised that Jigen should apologize as soon as he sees Pseudo if he wants to survive his anger, because things look very dangerous. Aram was still standing silently under the rain, watching the situation with a calm expression. After moments of thinking and silence, she suddenly moved with clear determination. She walked quickly under the rain, heading to an unknown place. Aram arrived somewhere and hid, watching the scene carefully from a distance. Suddenly, a violent scene appeared before her eyes that shocked her greatly. Jigen was attacking someone with extreme violence, with anger and cruelty dominating his face. He continued his fierce attack that clearly caused serious injuries. Aram was terrified by what she saw and by the screams that were begging Ji to stop. She backed away in fear, trying not to draw attention to herself. After Ji finished his violent attack, he slowly moved away under the rain. He stopped to catch his breath with great difficulty. It was clear he was tired and exhausted. But at that moment, Ji noticed the presence of Aram, who was hiding and now watching him silently and with concern. They exchanged a long and deep look without Aram uttering a single word. Aram remained still under the rain, looking at him with an expression full of sadness and doubt. Then she walked toward him quietly and raised her umbrella over his head to protect him from the rain. Still silent, Jigen remained silent under her umbrella, but after a short while, Jigen moved away again, leaving Aram standing in the rain with the umbrella still raised in her hand as she watched him leave. Aram kept looking at him as he walked away in the rain until he disappeared from sight. The next day, the weather at school was sunny and beautiful after the rain stopped. Inside the classroom, students wondered why Pseudo and his friends didn't show up, while some assumed they were absent as usual. One student noticed that Ji wasn't there either and asked where he could be. One of the girls said the classroom seemed empty without Jigen and wondered if something had happened. Yina was staring with worry and distraction, clearly anxious, whispering Ji's name to herself. Elsewhere, some students were talking about their shock at what happened to Sayudo, saying that just days ago they were joking and playing with him, and now he's in the hospital. Another student expressed his disbelief, saying it's illogical for someone like Pseudo to end up in the hospital because of just one person. One of them asked about Pseudo's condition. A student explained that Pseudo's face was smashed, and he'll have to stay in the hospital for a long time, adding that Pseudo refuses to let anyone visit him because he's too embarrassed. Another student asked how many people got beaten, and the answer was 4. This came from a student named Kang Duel from Daesan Industrial High School, who was sitting confidently, saying that Pseudo isn't the type to fall easily, and wondering who the person was who managed to beat him. A nervous student explained that the one who beat Pseudo is called Jigen, a recently transferred student who barely speaks and remains mysterious, and no one knows much about him. Kang Duel scoffed angrily, mocking the idea that 4 people got beaten by one unknown person. One of Kang Duel's followers grabbed the student angrily, questioning why he didn't get beaten too, asking if he had hidden like a mouse. The student defended himself, saying he felt 5 against 1 would be unfair, so he didn't join the fight. But this excuse didn't satisfy them, and the follower hit him again with extreme anger. Kang Duel returned to his question, which school did Ji transfer from? The student answered that he doesn't know, and no one knows, because Jigen never speaks as if he's mute. The follower got angry again and hit the student, calling him useless. Then he asked what Ji looks like, so they could recognize him at first sight. The student thought a bit and said that Jigon is incredibly handsome, like a fashion model, and seems to be from a wealthy family. He added that although he didn't want to admit it, girls are clearly attracted to him, describing Ji as having strange charisma. The follower exploded with anger, accusing the student of having a crush on Ji and asking what kind of relationship he had with him. Kang Duil smiled while thinking about Jigon, eager to learn more about this mysterious silent student. He described him as having a striking appearance and rare strength, like an extremely rare specimen. With great enthusiasm, Kang Duil shouted that he really wanted Ji. The next day, Jigon appeared walking towards school under a large banner promoting a violence-free school. He entered quietly, blending in with other students, resuming his daily life as if nothing had happened. The student was watching Jigon carefully, hiding behind lockers. He looked at him nervously, observing his movements from afar. He remembered how Kang Duil ordered him to investigate Jigon's background. He hesitated fearfully and asked why, but Kang Duil threatened him in a terrifying way. So the terrified student agreed and said he would do it. Of course, while watching Jigon, the student wondered in frustration why he was doing this, when suddenly a message arrived saying, "Congratulations." Jigon turned calmly toward his phone upon hearing the vibration sound. He opened his locker and found an old phone placed inside. The phone kept vibrating inside the locker. Jigon stared at the phone with a cold expression while listening to the vibration. He picked it up and took it out of the locker. He opened the message and read, "Congratulations, you have received a free phone." Other messages followed, stating that although the phone is old, he can still use the X-Talk app, and they're ready to listen to any of his concerns. Another message appeared, mentioning a quick reply option. Jigon looked around carefully to make sure no one was watching him. At that moment, the student hiding nearby felt a wave of fear and wondered if Jigon had noticed him. But Jigon quickly turned and completely ignored the student. A girl passed by and noticed Jigon looking at his new phone. Jigon started using the phone, focusing on it completely. The girl watched him with obvious worry and tension. Meanwhile, the hiding student was confused by Jigon's behavior and wondered what was happening. Suddenly, Ji put the phone on top of the locker and walked away quietly. The student immediately rushed toward the phone, surprised by what happened. He picked up the phone, wondering why Jigon abandoned it, noting it was very old and still open. But suddenly, a girl collided with him from behind with great force. The phone slipped from his hand and hit the lockers. The girl quickly snatched the phone and ran away while the student groaned in pain. The student shouted angrily, trying to stop her, but she kept running. He stood there stunned and angry at the chaos that just happened, wondering what the hell was going on. He ended up frustrated and very angry, wondering why things had gotten so bad lately. The scene continues, with two girls carrying some school supplies, one talking enthusiastically about her aunt's puppy, describing it as cute, saying she wanted to adopt it, but her father wouldn't allow it. Her friend, Yuri, noticed that Yuna was absent-minded and not really listening, so she scolded her. Yuna tried to explain herself nervously, but her friend accused her of thinking about Ji again, saying she was worried because he didn't come today either. Suddenly, Yuri gasped in surprise and shouted enthusiastically upon seeing Jigon coming down the hallway. Yuna assumed she was joking with her again, but Yuna was really surprised, her eyes widening in shock when she saw Jigon appearing in the corridor. Jigon walked calmly and confidently in the hallway, his eyes steady and indifferent as he looked ahead. Yuna stared at him with interest, deeply affected by seeing him. Her eyes filled with tears, showing clear signs of emotional impact. Suddenly, she gave everything she was carrying to her friend Yuri and asked her to wait a moment. Yuna rushed quickly toward Ji, leaving her friend behind while Yuri commented on Yuna's obvious obsession with him. Through the hallway windows, Yuna appears running toward Ji. She reaches him and hugs him tightly in front of everyone without hesitation. Everyone around them, including Yuri, who was carrying the school supplies, is shocked and stares at her in complete amazement. Yuna tells Jigon with deep sincerity that she was very worried about him and asks if he's okay, adding that she'll never forget that he saved her. Meanwhile, Ji remains silent while Yuna thanks him. From afar, the student spying on Jigon was watching the scene with obvious jealousy, saying that girls definitely love Jigon a lot. The student decides to write down everything he knew about Jigon on his phone, trying to gather information about him. He writes in his notes that Jigon is late to school, girls are attracted to him, he still doesn't speak, and wonders if this information is enough. After the school day ended, Jigon left the building, while some students talked about their plans to go to an internet cafe. As Jigon walked down the street, a suspicious-looking man on a motorcycle noticed him. He sarcastically commented to his friend that Jigon really stands out with his appearance. The second man looked toward him nervously as if preparing for something. Then both began speeding up toward Ji. Jigon walked calmly and steadily, showing no signs of worry as they approached. The two men surrounded him, circling around him at high speed. Finally, Jigon stood firm and calm in the middle of the road while the two men circled around him with clear threatening intentions. The events continue as the two men approach Jigon, and one asked if this student was really Jigen. Jigen remained silent without answering, while the man continued trying to confirm his identity. Jigen looked at him calmly without any reaction. The man with glasses mocked Jigen's silence and said with a sarcastic smile that his silence was clear confirmation that he was indeed Jigen. Then the other man asked him to ride the bike with them, saying they came to take him. The man continued his speech, explaining to Ji that there's someone called Kang Du-il from Daesan Industrial School. He became one of the strongest 3 in his school in his 2nd year, and he's a person known in the city for his strength and fierceness. The other man added sarcastically that their school differs from Jigon's school, which he described as a place where losers gather. Then he continued saying that Kang Du-il wants to meet him and asked Jigen to hurry up and ride with them. He added sarcastically to reassure Jigon that he won't die and this is just an initial invitation, nothing more. But Jigon continued standing silently, which angered the other man who harshly asked if he was deaf and ordered him again to get on. When Ji didn't respond, one of them grabbed his bag forcefully, trying to pull him to the bike. The man with glasses flared up angrily and threatened Jigen, saying he was too stubborn and wondered if Jigen would only ride after they broke his legs. Then he threatened him again, saying he should ride while he's still being nice to him and pulled him by his bag. At that moment, Jigen moved quickly away from the man's grip with a sudden movement. The 2 men became extremely angry at Jigon's reaction and shouted at him angrily for resisting and trying to escape. The man with glasses decided that talking was useless with Jigon and they should use force. Then both started chasing him angrily, threatening him that it would be over for him if they caught him. Jigon moved quickly toward one of the narrow alleys. Meanwhile, the man with glasses tried to catch up with him quickly on his motorcycle, threatening Jigen that he would destroy him as soon as he caught him. But the man suddenly lost control and crashed hard into a wall. The other man continued the chase on the second bike, shouting at his partner to get out of his way. He kept chasing Jigen and climbed the stairs behind him quickly, jumping with his bike forcefully trying to catch him. He shouted at Jigen to stop immediately as he sped toward him, but Jigen quickly kicked a garbage bag on the ground toward the attacking man. The bag hit the man's face with great force, making him fall from his bike and lose his balance violently. Then the man fell hard to the ground, while his partner watched in shock. Finally, the 2 men crashed into each other on the ground and the situation ended with both being stunned by what happened. They rolled violently on the ground, amid screams of pain. The motorcycle flew in the air and crashed violently on the ground, terrifying the injured man. The man with glasses checked on his partner and asked if he was okay, but his partner shouted in frustration, demanding he catch Jigon immediately. The 2 men quickly got up trying to determine the direction Jigon escaped to, angrily wondering where he disappeared. Suddenly, one of them spotted him from afar and shouted, "There he is." They resumed the chase, shouting angrily and threatening to catch Jigen. But Jigen disappeared again in a maze of alleys, increasing their anger and frustration. After moments, one of them spotted Jigen again, running in another alley. One of the 2 men finally managed to grab Jigon and shouted that he caught him. Then he screamed at him with extreme anger, declaring that it was definitely over for him. But when the man turned his head, he was shocked when he realized he caught the wrong person, not Jigen, and asked the terrified student why he grabbed him. The second man ran toward them, confused and angry, asking who this person was, while his anxiety increased as he repeated his questions about where Jigon was. Out of extreme frustration, one of them hit Jigon's lookalike forcefully, scolding him for suddenly appearing from the alley. Meanwhile, Jigen appeared quietly from a high edge, watching what was happening from afar calmly. He seemed calm and confident as he witnessed his pursuer's failure. Jigen slowly turned and walked away from the scene. The sun gradually set over the quiet city. Elsewhere, Kang Du-il appeared sitting among his men as they punished several students for failing to bring Ji. The 2 men who chased Jigen complained that they almost caught him, describing him as extremely elusive. One of Kang Du-il's followers got angry and kicked one of them violently, scolding them for failing to bring one person. The 2 tried to explain that the alleys were like a maze, but Kang Du-il shouted at them, saying this was just an excuse. Then, he smiled maliciously, saying he was now more excited to meet Jigen. At the same time, Kang Du-il asked student Min if he had discovered anything about Jigen. Min tensed up and was terrified. Min answered nervously that he had already searched for Jigon and began presenting what he found. Kang Du-il read the information from Min's phone, which was only about Jigen being late to school, his popularity among girls, and that he still doesn't speak. Kang Du-il got angry and said this wasn't real or useful information. One of his followers grabbed Min's head forcefully, angry at his failure. Min felt extreme frustration and sadness, wondering to himself why he had to go through all this. Kang Du-il ordered everyone to carry out harsh physical punishment and stood over them coldly, watching its execution. In the end, Kang Du-il ordered his men to let the students go, but he revealed a plan to trap Jijon after school at the back gate. Min was in a difficult position where Kang Du-il threatened him and ordered him to lure Ji to the back gate after school. insisting that he should at least be able to do this much. Then Kang Du-il assigned the task to his follower Daesek, ordering him to bring Ji-Jeon to him directly. Kang Du-il sat confidently and announced that he was really looking forward to meeting Ji tomorrow. Daesek responded enthusiastically and confidently, saying he would handle it. Meanwhile, Min felt frustrated and extremely anxious, wondering why he was chosen for this task since he wasn't even close to Ji-Jeon. The next day, Min appeared carrying 2 drinks in his hands, with tension clearly visible on his face. A cheerful classmate approached him and jokingly asked about one of the drinks, praising Min's generosity for buying him a drink. Min sharply refused, saying the drink wasn't for him. Suddenly, Min noticed Ji-Jeon approaching and became more nervous while his classmate called him stingy. Ji-Jeon walked calmly, unaware of what was happening. Min greeted Ji-Jeon with an overly cheerful tone, offering him one of the drinks as if they were close friends. Trying to get closer to him, Min smiled broadly and told Ji-Jeon he looked great today, offering him the drink he bought. But Ji-Jeon turned to him coldly without saying a word. Min tried to explain that he wasn't one of Seto's followers, claiming that everything that happened was just a misunderstanding, and he just wanted to clear things up. Then he said enthusiastically that he felt great relief seeing Seto defeated in front of everyone, describing his feeling as similar to the relief you feel when finally using the bathroom after holding it for a long time. He offered the drink to Ji-Jeon again enthusiastically, asking him to share it with him. But Ji-Jeon walked away again, completely uninterested, leaving Min muttering to himself that Ji-Jeon was arrogant and conceited. At the same time, Min's anxiety increased as he realized this task wouldn't be as easy as he thought, and wondered how he would convince Ji-Jeon to go to the back gate after school. A terrifying image of Daesek, threatening him and warning him not to mess up the mission came to his mind. In class, things seemed normal, with Ji-Jeon resting his head on his desk. Students were chatting about food, hunger, and today's lunch menu, but Ji-Jeon sat alone and isolated in the middle of the classroom. After a short while, he slowly raised his head, then got up and left the classroom alone, without Min noticing him watching from afar. Min continued tracking Ji-Jeon's movements, wondering if he had brought his lunch since he hadn't seen him in the cafeteria. Ji-Jeon left the school building carrying his meal and walked toward an isolated bench, noticing a phone on it. Ji-Jeon stared silently at the phone in front of him. Suddenly, a notification appeared on the screen, with a message, "Are you going to eat bread again today?" Elsewhere, a girl appeared confused and surprised as she looked at her phone with concern. Ji-Jeon looked at the phone, he found and read the incoming messages, with signs of surprise appearing on his face. The phone vibrated in his hand again, drawing his attention further. A message appeared, saying the sender knew that Ji-Jeon always ate alone on the school roof, adding that he also ate alone and had seen him there several times, explaining that this was why he wanted to talk to him. Ji-Jeon looked around with a questioning and suspicious gaze, trying to identify the source of the messages. Then another message arrived, saying the sender was on the other side of the roof. The sender raised his hand and waved from afar, trying to get Ji-Jeon's attention. Then he waved more vigorously to make sure Ji-Jeon could see him. In another message, the sender apologized, saying it was still difficult for him to meet people face to face, and added that he heard Ji-Jeon never spoke. Then the sender frankly admitted he suffered from the same speaking problem and asked him, "Why don't you ever speak?" Ji tried to respond, but he hesitated and remained silent. Suddenly, Min appeared and called out loudly to Ji. Min approached with an exaggerated smile, expressing his happiness at meeting him again by coincidence. He was carrying a bag and told Ji-Jeon he came here to eat some bread, then asked if he was eating alone. Min enthusiastically suggested they eat together, confirming it was a good idea. The two sat on the bench in silence, each eating their food. Meanwhile, the girl Aram was seen watching them from afar, eating quietly alone on the roof. Suddenly, Min started coughing and choking while eating, then suddenly began crying and confessed to Ji that he actually had no friend. Min explained that the reason he joined Seto's group was his fear of loneliness and isolation. He pleaded with Ji in a sad tone, asking him to be his friend since they were both outcasts. Ji-Jeon looked silently, with a serious and hesitant expression. Min felt disappointed that his plan to gain Ji-Jeon's trust didn't work and began to think he was acting foolishly. Ji-Jeon got up and walked away silently without responding. Min panicked and felt despair as he watched Ji-Jeon leave, believing all his efforts were wasted. He grabbed Ji-Jeon's arm, trying to stop him, and screamed his name desperately. Min looked at him with a desperate gaze and said in a broken voice, "We'll be friends, won't we?" Min remained kneeling, clinging to Ji-Jeon's arm and begging him not to leave. But Ji-Jeon forcefully pulled his arm away and left him there on the ground alone, making Min feel intense frustration and anger at his plan's failure. Min received a threatening message from Daesek, asking him why he hadn't brought Ji-Jeon yet. Min sat in class, confused and terrified, wondering what he should do now. He told himself there was still a chance, and he had to bring Jijun by any means possible. Min rushed toward the classroom, looking for Jijun, and his anxiety increased when he saw students leaving, fearing Jijun had already gone home. But when he reached the classroom, he was surprised to find it empty. Suddenly, he noticed Jijun sitting alone by the window. Jijun was staring silently and calmly out the window. Min noticed how calm and completely isolated Jijun was and thought to himself that he would leave alone if things stayed this way. At that moment, Min received another threatening message from Daesek, asking how long he would wait. Min became visibly nervous and decided to approach Ji, calling his name hesitantly. He tried to appear friendly and cheerful, telling Jijun he hadn't left yet, and said he told his mother he had made a new friend and she was happy about it. He continued, explaining that his mother wanted to meet Jijun and invited him to visit the market where she worked. Jijun remained silent and didn't give a clear response, making Min feel uncomfortable. He apologized, saying he might be asking for too much, but insisted that Jijun come with him even for a short time. Min began thinking nervously that refusing his mother's request would be unacceptable, and Jijun had to agree. He noticed Jijun's calm and cold expressions and felt growing anger inside because of his hesitation and lack of response. Min became visibly nervous and said loudly to Jijun that since they were friends, he should come with him for a bit. Aram was quietly watching the situation while the two left together. As they walked, Min told Jijun that going through the back gate was faster. Inside, he felt guilt and shame toward Jijun, knowing that his innocence and unfamiliarity with the area would put him in danger. They continued walking, and Min thought anxiously about whether he should at least give Jijun a small warning. Min sent a message to Daesek, telling him they were about to reach the back gate, and a sinister smile appeared on Daesek's face when he saw the message. Daesek approached Ji and Min at the back gate, clearly planning something evil. He passed very close to Jijun without warning, then deliberately bumped into him hard, causing him to clearly lose his balance. Jijun fell violently to the ground, shocked by what had just happened. Daesek grabbed Jijun's bag and gave him a veiled threat, saying he should be more careful. Then he warned him that if he was going to fall that easily, he didn't deserve the attention he was getting. Suddenly, Daesek attacked Jijun again, screaming his name in anger. Jijun hit the ground hard from Daesek's powerful blow. Daesek grabbed Jijun's clothes roughly and smiled threateningly and mockingly, saying, "It's great that we finally met, you bastard." He held Jijun by his clothes while Daesek mocked him, commenting on his good looks but downplaying his strength, saying his skills were probably exaggerated. Suddenly, Ji quickly raised his leg and delivered a powerful kick to Daesek's body. The kick hit with full force, making Daesek release Jijun from his grip due to the power of the blow. Daesek fell violently to the ground from the sudden strike. Jijun landed on his feet lightly with perfect balance, but his phone flew from his hand due to the strong landing. The phone hit the ground and slid toward a nearby drain. Ji looked toward his fallen phone with obvious concern, but Daesek didn't give up easily and attacked Ji again in a rage, shouting, "Is that all you've got?" This time, the blow was stronger, and Jijun took it directly, with its effect being clearly painful. Jijun fell to the ground from the force of the blow, increasing the intensity of the fight. While falling, Jijun accidentally stepped on the phone, pushing it away from the drain. Daesek's anger increased, and he threatened Ji, saying he would finish him off completely in the next round. But Jijun got up quickly and steadily, ready for the next confrontation. Daesek mocks Jijun again, wondering if his weak body could really handle the weight difference between them. Jijun calmly and confidently wipes the blood from his mouth, ready for what's coming. At the same time, Min watches the fight from a distance, his facial expressions filled with regret and sadness about what's happening to Jijun, but he's convinced that Daesuk will finish this soon. Daesuk launches another powerful attack on Jun, challenging him to try blocking this strike too. Jijun takes the brutal hit once again and flies through the air from the impact force. He falls backward, and his books and belongings scatter from his bag due to the force, but he manages to soften the fall by using his backpack to protect himself from a harder landing. Daesuk sarcastically comments on Jijun's cleverness for using his bag to reduce the shock. Then he smiles an evil smile, sarcastically wondering if Jijun is smarter than he looks. Jijun prepares to continue fighting and starts emptying his bag of books and belongings. Daesuk charges again with force, saying such tricks won't work on him twice, but this time, Ji dodges the attack with a quick and agile move. He takes advantage of the dodge to launch a counterattack. Jijun quickly wraps his bag strap around Daesuk's leg, using his speed to his advantage. Then he charges forward with tremendous force and throws Daesuk to the ground, using the bag with power and strategy. Shock spreads across Daesuk's face as he realizes he didn't expect such a sudden move from Jun. The scene ends with Daesuk defeated on the ground while Ji stands over him, holding the bag he used to take him down. Daisuke gets up angrily and yells in Jijun's face, but Jijun anticipates his move with a quick and sudden action, directing a powerful kick straight at Daisuke's face, stopping just before it touches him. The move was so unexpected that Daisuke was stunned and lost his balance. Daisuke tries to get back on his feet while in pain, cursing Ji and calling him a stubborn bastard. Then he yells asking who Ji thinks he is to act with all this arrogance in front of him. But Jijun responds with another powerful kick directly to his head, causing Daisuke to lose his balance and collapse to the ground. Daisuke lies completely exhausted on the ground while Jijun walks away calmly and confidently. From a distance, watches the scene in complete shock, not believing that Ji actually defeated Daisuke. Daisuke tries to get up again, but the pain and exhaustion are clear on his face. Jijun walks calmly, but his phone slips from his hand and falls to the ground without him noticing. He leaves the area, holding the phone in his hand. Daisuke gets up angrily again and yells that it's not over, charging toward Jijun once more. But Ji quickly responds with a powerful strike, forcing Daisuke to fall to the ground again. Jijun also falls during the struggle, and his phone flies from his hand and lands away from him. Daisuke notices the fallen phone and picks it up sarcastically, asking Ji if the phone is really important to him. Then, Daisuke smiles wickedly, saying that all he has to do now is take Jijun to Kangdu-il, and adds with fake sympathy that dragging him like this will be difficult. Suddenly, the sound of an approaching motorcycle cuts through the scene. Daisuke's partner appears speeding toward them on a motorcycle. Daisuke quickly jumps on the bike and tells Jijun that if he wants his phone back, he needs to come to Sitgil Park. He adds that the welcoming party is already waiting for him there. Daisuke and his partner ride away on the motorcycle while Jijun and Min watch them disappear on the horizon. Min rushes to Jijun in a panic, asking if he's okay. He examines Jijun's face with concern and asks if he's injured anywhere. Min tells Jijun that the situation was extremely dangerous, then asks with deep concern what he'll do now that they took his phone. He seriously warns him that the phone contains his personal information and things could get much worse if they access it. Min pretends to be extremely sorry and tells Jijun he can meet his mother another time, urging him to quickly head to Sitgil Park. In his mind, Min tells himself he's done enough and performed his duty well, but he still feels nervous and uncertain whether Jijun will actually go. He decides to quietly withdraw so he doesn't seem suspicious, but suddenly, he's shocked to see Jijun actually moving toward the location. Min watches Jijun as he walks away. Jijun continues his way to the park while Min stands shocked, wondering inside why Jijun would take such a big risk for a phone. Jijun climbs the stairs toward the park with calm and steady steps. Upon arrival, he sees several people standing on the stairs in his path, clearly waiting for him, suggesting they're part of the group, expecting his arrival. Someone sits on a bench, watching Jijun with sharp, piercing eyes. Another stands next to the Sitgil Park sign and appears to be waiting for Jijun as well. Jijun remains calm and steady as he observes the group in front of him. Before Jijun, another group of individuals gathers, and they appear ready for confrontation. Their facial expressions are fierce and frightening, indicating the danger of the situation. Ji stands before them with clear confidence and calm, completely ready for what's coming. Behind this group, Kangdu-il appears, sitting in complete relaxation, surrounded by his followers, clearly their leader. Kangdu-il looks at Ji with a mixture of admiration and sarcasm, saying with a smile, "He's truly a special person." He raises the phone taken from Ji and sarcastically asks if he came all this way just for this phone. Jijun approaches without saying a word, walking confidently toward Kangdu-il. Kangdu-il starts examining the stolen phone and mocks, saying it doesn't seem to contain anything important. He adds that the phone has no saved contacts or call history and appears almost empty. But suddenly, he notices something on the phone and smiles wickedly, saying it only contains a few text messages. He adds sarcastically that the messages are from a girl who was watching him, which increases his amusement and curiosity even more. Ji stands before the leader and silently extends his hand toward him to retrieve his phone. But Kangdu-il mocks Jijun again, sarcastically, asking if that girl is his girlfriend or just a passing fancy. Then he expresses his curiosity, revealing that he sent a message to the girl himself because he felt bored just looking at her. The leader explains that he sent her a text message to stir things up and start the fun. Elsewhere, Arum receives a new message on her phone. She is surprised by the unexpected message. The message starts with a simple hello. Then the sender writes that he feels extremely lonely and asks to meet her. He continues, "If you come to Sitgil Park today, you'll be my girlfriend from now on." Aram is left shocked and extremely amazed after reading the message. The leader finishes his words with an evil smile, telling Jijun that if the girl actually shows up after reading that message, it means she definitely has feelings for him. Kang Duel continues his mockery, telling Jijun that once the girl becomes his girlfriend, he should congratulate him and treat him nicely. Jijun silently extends his hand toward the phone again, maintaining his complete calm. But Kang Duel mocks him more and says provocatively, "So, you want the phone," as he places it at his feet. Then the leader points to his followers and tells Jijun that his men went through a lot just to bring him here. He mentions Seto, saying he always expected Seto would get beaten up someday because of his recklessness, but he's still an old classmate from middle school. Then he turns to Jijun, asking if he came prepared to pay the price. Jijun remains silent, which prompts Kang Duel to mock his silence again, commenting that he never talks. Then, Kang Duel tells Jijun that if he can keep his phone throughout the fight, he'll return it to him. He warns Jijun that the situation is dangerous, and that ranking battles in this area are brutal and intense, and that Jijun probably doesn't understand this being a recently transferred student. Then he adds more clearly that the moment Jijun challenged the guy called Seto, he had already entered a ranking fight. Suddenly, Kang Duel yells with enthusiasm, eager to see how strong Jijun is and what he's capable of. At that moment, Daisuke appears behind Jijun and smiles wickedly, saying this is the place for revenge. Daisuke tries to hit Jijun hard from behind, but Ji easily and calmly dodges the strike. Daisuke gets annoyed and swears revenge on Ji. Then he yells at the entire group, ordering them to attack Ji and grab him. One of the group members charges toward Ji with force, but Jijun dodges him, then clenches his fist tightly, ready to counter the attack. The attacker is surprised by Jijun's speed and strength, but Jijun stops. At that moment, several people attack Jijun all at once, but Ji counters the attack with exceptional skill and intense focus. Soon the situation becomes very difficult for him as more attackers join in. Ji receives several consecutive hits that knock him to the ground with force. One of them tries to deliver a very powerful blow to his head. Jijun falls to the ground, clearly in pain from the brutal attack. He tries to get up again despite the severe pain he feels. The scene ends with Jijun continuing to receive harsh blows from several attackers at once. While Kang Duil watches, the scene continues with the group leader expressing his amazement that Jijun is only defending himself without trying to fight. He asks, in confusion, whether Jijun is uninterested in competing for ranking in the area. While the group members continue beating him harshly, one of them yells angrily, saying that Jijun hasn't screamed even once, despite all this beating, sarcastically wondering if Ji is risking his life just to stay silent. Kang Duil wonders with a sarcastic smile about what kind of voice Jijun might have if he decided to speak someday. Then he yells with enthusiasm, announcing that anyone who makes Jijun scream in pain will get a pair of limited edition sneakers as a reward. The members get extremely excited when they hear about the reward and express their joy and enthusiasm. They all charge toward Jejun again with brutal intensity. Ji receives extremely harsh blows to his face. Kang Duil yells harshly at Jijun, demanding he show his skills and prove he's truly a special person. At that moment, Daisuke appears again and yells at the others to move aside, screaming at Jijun with sarcasm and anger, "Where's that arrogance now? Or, are you scared?" Daisuke hits Jijun with a brutal blow, causing clear injury and bleeding. Ji falls to the ground in severe pain from the powerful strike. He breathes with difficulty as he lies on the ground, his face covered with bruises and wounds. At that moment, one of the group members picks up a rock from the ground and yells angrily that he'll make Ji scream no matter what it takes. He raises the rock high, ready to hit Ji, saying he never liked his face and this will fix it. Suddenly, Kang Duil intervenes, prevents the man from seriously harming Jijun and hits him hard. He glares at the attacker and angrily asks if he wants to die because of this shameful act. Kang Duil approaches Ji and grabs him by the collar and lifts him, sarcastically asking if he enjoys being beaten or if he's hiding something behind his silence. He warns him that this won't end until Jijun proves himself and shows what he's capable of. Meanwhile, Min is seen watching the scene from a distance. He feels deeply sorry for Jijun and admits to himself that this group is much stronger than Seto. But suddenly, Min notices a girl approaching the area and feels a wave of panic at her appearance. The leader, who is still holding Ji's stolen phone, receives a text message from the girl asking him to leave Jijun alone and let him go. The leader suddenly turns toward Jijun, surprised by the message. Aram appears standing at a distance, watching the situation with clear worry and tension. The leader smiles wickedly at Jijun and tells him that this might be the moment he finally regains his fighting spirit. Kang Duil tells Jijun that his girlfriend has already arrived, pointing to Aram, who just appeared. One of the group members starts moving quickly toward the girl. One of the group members orders Aram to come closer with a clearly threatening tone. The girl tries to reply with a message on her phone, her hands shaking, and she types, "I am," but she hesitates and stops. Suddenly, one of the men rushes toward her from behind while she's still focused on her phone. He grabs her hand roughly and pulls her forcefully. The man's face becomes visible as he holds her, rudely commenting that she's beautiful. He tries to pull her with greater force, and she appears completely terrified and shocked. He mockingly asks her where she thought she was going. Coming here alone. Min watches the situation in complete shock and extreme concern as he realizes the girl is Aram, their classmate. He tries calling out to Aram, panicked and extremely afraid for her safety. Meanwhile, the man tells Aram that she should come see her boyfriend's face, referring to Jijin. Min watches the scene from afar, paralyzed with fear and unable to intervene. The man drags Aram to where Jijin and the leader are sitting, mockingly announcing that he brought her. Jijin looks at Aram with deep shock at her unexpected arrival. They exchange glances and Aram's face clearly shows sadness and deep concern. Aram remembers an earlier moment when she met Jijin once in the rain and silently offered him an umbrella. That moment seems connected to a painful memory for her. Then when she saw the hero on the roof, she quickly hid, and when she waved to him with her hand. Back to the present, Aram's facial expressions are clearly worried and confused by the situation. Jijin is severely shocked to see Aram standing in front of him in such a dangerous situation. The group members mock Aram's presence, saying they didn't expect her to actually come. One of them mocks and asks if she came to be Jijin's girlfriend, but says he's very busy right now. Then he tells her they were just disciplining him a little because he's annoying and difficult. Aram writes a message on her phone while trembling, trying to explain that Jijin is just a friend and asking them to leave him alone. But Kangduel gets annoyed that Aram doesn't speak and mockingly asks why she's also silent, just like Jijin. He walks toward Aram and firmly demands that she tell him her name. When Aram remains silent, the leader's anger increases and he mocks their silence, saying they're exactly alike. The group laughs and mocks the silent duo, jokingly calling them the duo that doesn't talk. Finally, Kangduel announces to everyone that he doesn't care which one speaks first, but whoever makes either of them talk will get a reward from him. Daisuke asks Kangduel if the rule also applies to the girl, and the latter answers yes. The group starts harassing Aram, saying that if she can't talk, she can't say no either, and they begin approaching her rudely. One of them grabs her hand and demands she say something while she appears extremely terrified. Another approaches Aram and starts talking about the smell of her hair, causing her more fear and confusion. Upon hearing this, extreme anger appears on Ji's face as he listens to their provocative words. Kangduil turns to Jijin with a mocking tone, asking him what he plans to do now and whether he'll continue being silent. Jijin continues staring silently without responding, so the leader angrily demands again that he say something. The group intensifies its harassment of Aram, becoming more aggressive and pressuring her heavily to speak. Xiang Min watches the situation from afar, shocked and extremely afraid for Aram. The violence toward Aram escalates as one of them forcefully asks her when she'll use her mouth, demanding she scream. At that moment, Jijin suddenly appears, delivering a powerful blow to one of the group members harassing Aram. The person who was hit immediately falls to the ground, and everyone is shocked by what just happened. Jijin continues his sudden attack with courage, landing a strong punch on another group member. The situation intensifies as Jijin delivers another brutal blow to another group member, and everyone begins to be amazed by Jijin's sudden strength. Another person falls to the ground from Jijin's powerful attack. Kangduel smiles wickedly and comments that Jijin has finally started fighting. The group members try to attack Ji again with extreme anger. Aram watches the situation in shock and concern for Jijin. The group begins attacking Ji with extreme violence. They all rush toward him and begin their attack, but Jijin faces them with courage, trying to defend himself, then grabs one of their legs to knock him down on the rest of his companions. But one of them pounced on him and grabbed him and knocked him to the ground. But Jijin grabbed him by the head and raised his fist and delivered a powerful punch to his face. Jijin also dodges a powerful kick, then grabs that young man's leg. But Daisuke appears, running violently toward Ji, vowing that he'll finish this matter himself this time. One of the gang members struggles to free his leg from Ji's grip, screaming in pain, "Let go of my leg." But Jijin responds with a brutal and powerful attack, crushing the man's face with a devastating blow that sends him to the ground. Jijin quickly gets up and prepares for another violent strike as he rushes toward Daisuke. Daisuke tries to throw a punch at Jijin, but Jijin dodges it and strikes him fiercely, delivering a devastating kick to Daisuke's knee. Daisuke loses his balance. Jijin follows up with a powerful kick to his face, knocking him to the ground violently. Jijin continues his attack with overwhelming force and anger, kicking Daisuke in the face again brutally, making him scream in pain. Meanwhile, Kangduel watches the scene from afar with a smile, commenting that Ji is truly a rare character. Daisuke tries to get up again with extreme pain and difficulty, rushing toward Jijin once more, colliding with him with tremendous force while screaming in blind rage, cursing Jijin, but Jijin raises his fists above Daisuke's head, ready to end the fight decisively. Jijin delivers a powerful elbow strike that inflicts severe damage, then follows it with a series of strong and continuous blows to Daisuke's face, leaving him bloodied and bruised. Daisuke collapses on the ground unconscious from the brutal attack, while the entire group looks on in shock and amazement. At that moment, the rest of the group members rush toward Ji with extreme anger, ready to avenge Daisuke. But Jijin confronts them with force, quickly knocking them down from a distance. Kang Duil continues expressing his great admiration for Ji's strength, wondering about his true nature, and says Jijin is more interesting than he imagined. Suddenly, one of the group members threatens Jijin, demanding he kneel immediately, holding Aram and threatening to hurt her if he doesn't comply. A look of shock appears on Jijin's face when he sees Aram in danger. Suddenly, a memory flashes in Jijin's mind of the same situation, and a girl's voice calling his name from afar with deep concern while crying. A violent spark of anger ignites in Jijin's eyes, and he seems to be starting to lose control. He begins approaching the man holding Aram, so the man panics and screams at Jijin to stop. Aram watches the scene with terror and extreme concern. At the last moment, while Ji is focused on saving Aram, another attacker appears from behind him, trying to strike him. But Ji delivers a powerful blow to the attacker who tried to ambush him. Violent anger burns in Ji's eyes as he rushes quickly toward the man holding Aram. The man panics and screams in fear to Jijin not to come closer, but Jijin ignores the warning and delivers a brutal and harsh blow to the man's head, making him fall to the ground. The man quickly apologizes, saying he made a mistake and begs for mercy, but Jijin doesn't respond, instead continuing to attack him with extreme violence. The anger and intensity on Jijin's face increase as he unleashes a series of consecutive brutal blows. At that moment, Kang Duil intervenes and screams at Jijin to stop immediately. The leader takes out the phone and returns it to Jijin, telling him he deserves it because he passed the test. Then he invites Jijin in a friendly tone to join their group, saying he can't resist something he wants. But Jijin doesn't respond and ignores the offer, appearing extremely exhausted and angry. Jijin continues walking toward Kang Duil, who tries to convince him that it's over and asks him what he's doing. His tension increases under Jijin's angry looks, and he tells him again to stop. But Jijin suddenly tries to strike him with force. Kang Duil smiles an evil smile and prepares to fight, taking a fighting stance that clearly shows his high fighting skills. Ji tries to deliver a blow, but the leader easily dodges it with lightning speed. Then Kang Duil responds with a devastating punch to Jijin's face, completely surprising him. The blow was so powerful that it lifted Jijin off the ground and knocked him backward. Signs of shock and severe pain appear on Jijin's face as he clearly loses control. Jijin falls to the ground, completely collapsed from the force of the blow. Kang Duil approaches and says mockingly, "I already told you." Then, with a clearly threatening tone, he repeats that he warned him before and told him to stop, but he didn't. While Jijin was lying on the ground, Kang Duil approached him and said, "I'll give you time to think, and I'll come back to hear your answer." Then threw his phone to him. Kang Duil told his men let's go, and while Kang Duil was walking with his men, Daisuke asked him, "Who is this guy? Are you really going to let him join us? I was actually scared of him when he lost his temper." So Kang Duil thought about what happened and said, "When I dodged his punch, he reacted to me in that moment. He has a talent for targeting weak points. Since he's exceptional, I'll keep him." We go back to Jijin, who was sitting with Aram, and Aram kept looking at him because he had many wounds on him, and Aram cried because she didn't know what to do for him. Then she left him and suddenly ran out. So Jijin looked at the phone and found she had written him a message saying, "I'm going to get you medicine, please stay where you are." While Jijin was sitting, he remembered what happened to Aram when one of the gang members attacked her. Then Jijin decided to put the phone aside and got up. Songmin was standing behind the tree and said if the fight had been one-on-one from the beginning, Kang Duil would have won. "We should deal with Jijin." While he was walking, he noticed the phone that Jijin left behind. And as soon as he saw the phone, he remembered when they first saw each other, and he thought this means Aram was the one who gave this phone to Jijin. Then he noticed Aram coming from behind. So Aram was surprised when she saw Songmin, so Songmin got nervous and didn't know what to do. So he hid the phone and ran away, and Aram noticed that Jijin had left. While Songmin was running away, a message came to the phone, so he looked at the message and found Aram saying in the message that she brought medicine for Jijin but he left. Aram thought the phone was with Jijin, but as soon as Songmin saw the message, he said Aram is worried about Jijin and he's treating her coldly, and she left the phone and walked away. I don't know what to do. Should I reply to reassure her? So, Aram sent another message letting him know that she was the one talking to him. So, Songmin said I know it's you. So Aram sent him more messages asking him to talk to each other. Songmin became nervous and didn't know what to do. I'll be Jijin, I feel like I don't know how to act. So, Aram was sitting. Then she suddenly stood up when she saw a message from Jijin telling her he agreed to talk. But it was Songmin who sent the message. Then Songmin's friend came holding his phone, watching the video of Jijin's fight, and couldn't believe that Jijin was able to defeat that large number. So Songmin told him good thing I was able to film what happened because I was shocked. His friend told him this will be famous, so Songmin thought and said so Aram is impressed by him, and he was upset that she loves him, but happy that Jijin rejected her. So Songmin's friend said if I post this video, it will spread quickly. So Songmin said no, so he took his friend's phone and ran. So Songmin ran after him, but while Songmin was running, he bumped into someone, and the student he bumped into was named Kim, who was a strong student. Songmin got scared as soon as he saw Kim in front of him, and apologized for what he did, and told him, I'll put everything back the way it was, and put the pin back on the tie. But Kim hit him hard in the face, then cursed and left. So his friend came back to him and asked Songmin, are you okay? So Songmin said, do you see that I'm okay? So his friend said good thing, it ended like this, he's just in a bad mood, and they like fighting. When Jijin arrived at school, Yina ran to him and checked on him, saying what happened, your face is full of wounds. But Songmin was upset with Jijin because girls like him, and why is he the one girls like? When Songmin saw Aram he greeted her, but she ignored him and walked away. So he thought that Aram, in order to talk to her, he needs to get close to Jijin. Songmin's friend was standing far from Songmin and was posting the video. We then go to the classroom and see students bullying Joe-man with one of them holding Joe-man and drawing a laughing face on his head. After finishing the drawing, the students kept laughing at him. Then they took the students and told him to walk backwards. And when Joe-man heard them and walked backwards, he stumbled down the stairs and fell, but he caught Joe-man before he fell. So Yina asked him, are you okay? So Joe-man said, yeah, I'm okay. Yina was surprised when she saw the drawing on Joe-man's head and asked him what's this, so Joe-man told her the students did this as a joke. Yina felt embarrassed when she found out, but Joe-man noticed that Jijin wasn't laughing at him, and then they went to their classroom. We then go to a student standing and watching the place, with two people inside fighting each other, and many students standing watching the fight. And this was a bet between the two of them, and the one running all this was Kim. Kim was sitting when one of his followers came and showed him the video of Jijin fighting Kang's gang, and one of his men told him, did you see the student who just transferred now? Kim was surprised and said, is this student from our school? So he told him yes because his uniform is like ours. Kim said he has skills. If he's really from our school, this would be a great success. Then one of Kim's men called the students, so Kim asked them, does anyone know the transferred student here is new? So one of the students said, yeah, there's a student in the class next to us, but he doesn't talk at all. Kim asked him what grade is he in? So the student said 5th grade. There's also a rumor that says Seo Taxo went to the hospital because of him. Kim was surprised when he heard this and said, I need to know more information about this boy, and told one of his men, I want you to get me more information about him. We go back to Joe-man, who is sitting, while the students tell him come eat with us. So he tells them no, you guys go. And as soon as Jigen leaves, Joe-man goes and knows that he brought food so they could eat together, and tells him, can we eat together once? And as soon as they go up to the roof, they find Jongmin standing waiting for them. So Joe-man tells him, why are you standing here? So Jongmin tells him, I was standing here waiting for Jigen so we could eat together. So Joe-man tells him, I'm here too to eat with Jigen. But when Jongmin sees the drawing on Joe-man's head, he keeps laughing and tells him, you make people laugh. So Joe-man tells him, I don't make people laugh. So Jongmin tells him, man, why are you walking like that? So Joe-man tells him, this is because of the bullying against me. And the two of them keep arguing with each other, but suddenly a message comes to Jigen's phone, which is with Jongmin in his pocket. So Jongmin decides to move away from them, and opens the phone and sees the message. He finds Aram sent Jigen to eat his lunch. So he replies to her and tells her, yes, I'll do that, and sends her a message and tells her you too. And Aram is hiding from him, and when she sees the message, she gets surprised. And Jongmin gets surprised when he sees in front of him, Jae. So Jongmin tells him, what brought you here, and where's Kim? But Jae goes to Jigen and tells him, I heard you come up to the roof during lunchtime. And gets close to him and takes out the phone and shows him the video and tells him, is this you? So Jongmin gets surprised when he sees the video, and thinks and says, my friend posted the video. And Jae-man doesn't understand anything. So Jae tells Jigen, I wanted to know if these rumors going around are true or not. Get up and show me your skills. But Jigen doesn't get up from his place. But Jae gets angry and attacks Jigen and hits him. But Jigen manages to dodge his hit. So Jay hits him with many punches, but Jigon manages to dodge all the hits. So Jay attacks with all his strength on Jigon, but Jigon dodges his hit and goes down and hits him with his leg in his leg, making his face hit the chair. So Jay falls on the ground and can't get up, and Jay finds his face covered in blood. And when he looks at Jigon, he gets scared of him and gets up and runs quickly to escape from the place. Joe-man and Jong-min remain surprised by what happened, and Joe-man tells Jigon, "Who exactly are you?" So Jong-min tells him Jigon is the person who put Seo Taxo in the hospital. So Joe-man tells him, "I know you're different from us, but I didn't know you were this tough." So Jong-min tells them since this person came here, this is a danger sign, because he's part of Kim's gang, and if you have fighting skills, they'll force you to fight, and they'll use the gym as a fighting ring. Looks like Jigon is their target. So Joe-man gets surprised when he learns there's a fighting ring in the school. So Jong-min tells him, "I heard there are people who sign up to win money, and Jigon can take money from them." So Joe-man gets angry. "What are you saying?" So Jong-min tells him, "I'm saying this because I'm confident in Jigon." So Joe-man tells Jigon, "Since you're not talking, I'll refuse them for you. You don't like fighting or attracting attention. I'll try to talk to them for you. Friends do anything," and tells Jong-min, "You don't know we're friends." So Jong-min tells him, "Why are you talking like you're his friend?" After that, Jigon returns to the classroom and finds the students waiting for him, and they tell him, "You're 40 Natus, the one in the video." So Joe-man tells them, "Don't bother him. If you want to talk about something, talk to me." So the students get annoyed and say, "Why is he so close to him?" Suddenly, the door opens and Kim enters the classroom and asks them, "Where's the new transfer student?" So the students get nervous and no one talks, but they look at Jigon. So Kim understands and goes toward Jigon, but finds Joe-man standing in front of him. So he tells him, "Who are you?" So Joe-man tells him, "If you want to talk to him, talk to me." So one of Kim's followers tells him, "Are you an important person?" So Joe-man gets nervous and tells him, "All I'm saying is if you want to talk, talk to me." So this person hits him with a strong punch. He falls on the ground and then pulls him by his shirt to make him stand up and tells him, "Did you come to make us laugh?" So Jigon gets up to stand after that. So Kim tells Jigon, "You're the person who hit Jay and broke his nose. You heard about the gym," and takes out a card with him and tells Jigon, "He went to give you an invitation, but since you refused, I came here myself. Don't you want to have money?" But Joe-man stands again and tells him Jigon doesn't want to fight. That's why he won't go. So Kim gets annoyed when he hears that and kicks him, making him fly from in front of him, breaking the table behind him. And Kim gets close to him and tells him, "You don't know when to interfere and when not to interfere." And Kim keeps kicking him with strong kicks. "I want you to stay away, like the failures." And the students are surprised by what happened to Joe-man. Suddenly, Kim finds a hand placed on his shoulder. He turns to see who it is. He finds it's Jigon. So Kim tells him, "Take your hand off me, understood?" But Jigon grabs him by his shirt. So Kim gets angry. So the person with Kim attacks Jigon and tells him, "Take your hand off us." But Jigon manages to dodge his hit and lies on the desk. And Jigon hits him with his knee in his face, making his face covered in blood. So this person falls on the ground. So this person gets up again and tells Jigon, "You're dead," and grabs a chair and throws it at Jigon. But Jigon manages to jump and dodge the chair, and jumps on the table, and Jigon runs on the tables and kicks this person in his face, making him fall on the ground. And Jigon stands on the table, and the students get happy that Jigon is strong. So this person stands again, and gets angry and lifts a table, but suddenly the teacher enters on them, and asks them what's happening, and tells the person holding the table to put it on the ground, and tells them, "You're fighting in the classroom of all places," and tells Jigon, "Why are you standing like that?" So Kim takes his friend and tells the teacher, "We were joking, not fighting." And then Kim calls Joe-man and tells him, "I can reach Jigon through you. I'll see you again, Jigon." And Kim goes to the teacher and tells him, "Teach them, I don't want you to be annoyed." And the students leave school after that, and Joe-man tells Jong-min it was a strong fight. He couldn't even touch Jigon. So Jong-min gets annoyed because he didn't see the fight, and says, "I should have been there, but why didn't Jigon come out?" So Jong-man tells him the teacher asked him to wait. Jigon wasn't the one who started the fight, but he was participating in it. We go after that to Jigon, who is sitting with the teacher, and the teacher gives him green tea, and the teacher tells him the atmosphere of this school is completely different from your old school. We're located in the suburbs and on the coast, and this is rare. When your father told me he would transfer you to this place, I was against it. I thought it would be difficult for you to adapt, because you don't talk, but I thank your father for trusting me as a friend. Before you came here, the last time I saw you was when you were 4 years old. And we go back in time and see Jigon training. So the teacher comes and greets his father, and greets Jigon. So Jigon's father tells Jigon to greet the teacher. So Jigon greets the teacher. So the teacher tells Jigon's father, "You turn the place into a gym," and tells Jigon, "You'll grow up to become stronger." Then Jigon's father takes the teacher and they walk. We go back to the present time and see the teacher telling Jigen to go back to that time. You were strong and had energy. I don't know what happened. You transferred to a school like this too. I told the other teachers to understand your situation, but you should deal with student problems yourself. And it doesn't mean that your father raised you to be strong, just to train your body to be strong. I'm confident that one day you'll be good. And we go to Joe-man and Jongmin, and it's raining. And Jongmin tells Joe-man, we don't need to worry about Kim and his friends. So Joe-man tells him, looks like he gave up because he can't find a way to deal with Jigen. But suddenly, a message comes to Jongmin on Jigen's phone from Aram. So Jongmin tells Joe-man, I'm leaving now. And Jongmin finds Aram sent him a message asking him, do you have an umbrella? So Jongmin writes to Aram why. So Aram tells him, I'm in front of the stationery store, can you come? So Jongmin thinks while running and says, she has an umbrella and is standing. So Jongmin goes to look at her. He finds her actually standing and waiting for Jigen and thinks and says, what should I do now? Should I bring Jigen to meet Aram? But then he gets angry and says, no, I'll never let them share the umbrella together. But if it stays like this, and then runs to look for Jigen and thinks and says he might be in the principal's room. And Aram stays standing, waiting for Jigen. Then she hears someone saying, you don't have an umbrella, Jigen. So she looks and finds Jongmin with Jigen, telling him last time it rained on you too. Then says, what's this, Aram, what are you doing here? So Aram gets surprised when she sees him with Jigen. And then Aram opens her bag and takes out an umbrella and gives it to Jigen. So Jongmin thinks and says she wasn't going to share the umbrella with us, and took out the umbrella and put it in the middle. But she's under Jigen. If for once, I want you to look, and takes the umbrella from her and tells her I needed the umbrella, me and Jigen, because we're going somewhere together. We were going to the game center. Don't you want to come with us? We go after that to Joe-man, who is walking, but suddenly meets Kim's followers standing in front of him, and Jay tells him you became the person who speaks for Jigen. There's a message I wanted you to tell Jigen, and they start beating him, and Jay tells him I told you what to do. So Joe-man tells him make Jigen participate. So Jay tells him you're honest, right? But Joe-man doesn't reply, so Jay hits him with a strong punch in his face. So Joe-man tells him okay, I'll talk to him. So Jay tells him, you know the cost you'll pay is your life. So Kim tells them enough he'll die, and takes out the card and gives it to Joe-man and tells him, give it to Jigen, and tell him welcome to the fighting ring. And they leave him and walk away. We then go to Jungmin and Jigen, who are sitting playing, and Jungmin thinks and says forget about fighting. My skills in this game are strong. And Aram is standing watching them, but Jigen manages to score a point. So Jungmin says I let him win, but Jigen manages to make a move that he wins with, and they play again, but Jigen manages to beat Jungmin. So Jungmin goes to Aram and tells her it's your turn, and he thinks and says I know you won't look at me. And Aram starts playing with Jigen, but Aram manages to beat Jigen, and they go play another game. And Jungmin tries to grab the teddy bear, but he can't. So Jungmin tries again, but he fails and gets angry, and says this machine is broken. So Jigen presses the red button and 2 prizes come out, and he gives one to Jungmin and Aram. So Jungmin thinks and says, since things have come to this, I'm forced to use my final steps. And they then go to a room, and Jungmin starts singing, and he wants to sing, so Aram will be impressed by his voice. But suddenly, Jungmin, while singing, chokes and can't continue singing, and he tells them I'll go get water. Then Aram takes out her phone and writes to Jigen, thank you for the game. But suddenly, she gets a call from her father. So she gets up and walks, but bumps into someone with coffee. So Aram falls to the ground and the coffee spills on her. So this person gets angry at her and tells her, why don't you watch where you're going? But Aram doesn't respond. So this person tells her, aren't you going to apologize? Didn't you learn that way? And you make a mistake, you apologize. So Jungmin sees her and runs to her. So the friend of the person who got coffee spilled on him tells Jungmin, is this your girlfriend? So Jungmin tells him no, we're friends, but the person with the coffee spills the coffee on Aram. So Jungmin is shocked when he sees this, but Jigen comes and grabs his hand and kicks him with his leg, knocks him to the ground. So this person's friend attacks Jigen, but Jigen manages to dodge his punch, and Jigen hits him with a strong punch that knocks him to the ground, and Aram is shocked when she sees this person fallen in front of her on the ground. Then Jigen helps her up and takes her, and they walk away. But this person gets up again and tells them to stop where they are, but Jigen takes Aram, and they run away. And after Jigen and Aram escape from the place, Jungmin stays behind, so when this person sees him, he tells him, come here, you know them. So Jungmin runs before this person catches him, and he takes out the teddy bear from his bag and calls out to them, and when he comes out, he finds them going down the stairs. So he calls out to them and tells them you're leaving me and running away. so Jungmin thinks and says they look good together. The person who saved Aram when she was in danger was Jigen, and I was just a failure. And he cries and says I'm just an ordinary person. What is a person like me supposed to do? But suddenly, while Songmin is walking, he finds someone calling him. So when he looks, he sees Min calling him. He finds Joe-man fallen on the ground and his face is all bruised. So Songmin runs to Joe-man and tells him what happened to you. So Joe-man cries and tells him, I'm the one who made me go to Jigen and say speak in his place. So Jongmin tells him you got beaten up by Kim's men. So Joe-man tells him, I promised them I would make Jigen participate in fights that happen in the gym, because I was scared. So Jungmin cries and tells him you're not different from me. This is the life of scared losers. Then Songmin supports Joe-man so he can walk. So Joe-man thanks him for what he's doing for him and asks him what will they do. So Jungmin tells him what are people like us going to do. If he considers us his friends, then he'll help us. We go to Jigen who is holding Aram's hand to help her cross. But as soon as he holds her hand, she looks at him and they start looking at each other. Then he lets go of her hand and they walk together. Then Aram opens the umbrella for them because of the rain. But then Yuna is walking with Yuri, but she sees Jigen walking with Yuna. So she suddenly stops. So Yuri tells her what are you looking at? So Yuna tells her nothing. So Yuri tells her, come on quickly because people are waiting for us. But Yuna keeps looking at Jigen and Aram together. And then Aram's phone suddenly rings but she doesn't see who it is. And they arrive at the place where Aram lives. And Aram takes out her phone and writes to Jigen, this is the place where I live. And she gives him the umbrella and walks away. And Jigen decides to leave too, but suddenly, he finds someone tapping his shoulder, so when he turns around, he finds Aram wrote to him, thank you for today. Then she leaves him and walks away and looks at him from above. But there's a person standing next to her, looking at Jigen. Then he starts getting angry at her and tells her what are you doing all this? And the next day comes and Jungmin keeps shaking Joe-man and hitting him and tells him you sold out Jigen. So Joe-man cries and tells him, yes, a person like him deserves to die. I don't deserve to be his friend. And Jigen is sitting behind them, eating not caring about them. And Jungmin calls Jigen and tells him hit him like this. And then Jungmin tells Joe-man when will they have the fight. So Joe-man tells him it will be at 9 o'clock in the gym. So Songmin tells him what will happen if Jigen doesn't come. So Joe-man cries and tells him they'll kill me. So Jigen gets up and stands. So Jungmin tells Joe-man will they really kill you? So Joe-man tells him yes. So Jigen leaves them and walks away. So Jungmin tells Joe-man will Jigen go? So Joe-man tells him I don't know his face, expression was cold. I feel like I'm in trouble. So Jungmin tells him you should have cried more than that. Night comes and we see Jungmin and Joe-man present in the gym, and there's a fight going on. So Joe-man says is this a school? So Jungmin tells him this is no different from a wrestling ring. The atmosphere is tense, and Joe-man says will he come? So Jungmin tells him Jigen. And the fight that's happening is a strong fight, and there's a camera and a person monitoring what's happening. And this person says looks like the winner in the match was able to feel the match. This is the main match. And will the transfer student Jigen come? I didn't know he was a fighter. I don't know who to bet on, Lee Tae-song or Jigen. I'm interested in Jigen, but his opponent is Lee Tae-song. I'll definitely bet on Lee Tae-song, and Lee Tae-song is a strong fighter. Suddenly, this person gets a call and the caller says there's a student who doesn't speak. So this person knows the student must be Jigen, so he tells the caller, let him in. And this person looks at him from the window and says this is a brave young man. And we return to the gym and Joe-min manages to win, and Kim says this is almost the main match, and then asks about Jigen. So Kim's men go to Jungmin and Joe-man and ask them where is Jigen, and Jae tells them if Jigen doesn't come you guys will get beaten by Lee Tae-song. Then Jigen enters, and Jungmin and Joe-man can't believe Jigen came, and they run to him and hug him, and then Kim comes to him and tells him you came on time. I was waiting for you Jigen. If you win the clients who bet on you will win. There's 10% of those who bet on you. And I bet on you Jigen. In my opinion, you're the strongest. And then Jigen stands in front of Lee Tae-song. And Lee Tae-song says turn on the music, and then Lee Tae-song takes off his clothes, and his body is strong. And the fight begins between them, and Lee Tae-song hits with all his strength. But Jigen manages to dodge all of Lee Tae-song's punches, and Jigen attacks him and hits him, but Lee Tae-song manages to block his punch, so Lee Tae-song attacks Jigen and kicks him, but Jigen dodges his kick and attacks him, but he blocks Jigen's punch. And Lee Tae-song thinks and says, I can say that from the few punches we hit each other with, I see that he's on a different level from everyone I've faced. And he was able to target the moment when my defense was down. And Jigen manages to hit Lee Tae-song many punches, and Jigen attacks Lee Tae-song and kicks him, and then hits him many punches, and Jungmin and Joe-man cheer. And Jigen is beating up Lee Tae-song. And the person sitting monitoring what's happening sees that Lee Tae-song is getting beaten. and the students are upset with Lee Tae-song because this way they'll lose their money. And they turn up the music for Lee Tae-song, and Lee Tae-song gets excited and hits Jigen, and one of the students asks, "What is this song?" So another student tells them this is an Elecon song. So when Jigen hears the song name, he remembers when he was sitting with a girl, telling him if you appear for the first time you'll be a friend to the idol. So this girl tells Jigen, "What do you think about Elecon? If I sign the contract with them, they'll make sure of my first appearance. I'll be able to do this." Then Jigen's friends come and call him. So Jigen gets up and tells her, "Whatever you do and whatever your choice is, for me the answer is the right answer." So the girl is happy when she hears this, and tells him, "I'll always depend on you." And we return to the present time, and Lee Tae-song attacks with all his strength on Jigen and manages to hit him. But Jigen blocks all of Lee Tae-song's punches. But Jongmin and Jo-man worry. And Lee Tae-song thinks and says this person has nothing special about him. I was being lenient with him, and he hits Jigen with all his strength. And the students cheer for Lee Tae-song. And now Jigen can't hit Lee Tae-song. And Jungmin and Jo-man don't know what to do. And Jo-man says, "Why is the music loud? It's distracting Jigen." So Jungmin tells him, so it might be distracting Jigen. And they go to the person playing the music and tell him the music is loud, turn it off. And Jungmin tells him, "Jigen can't focus, lower the volume." So the students laugh and say he's the one who can't fight. So Jo-man takes the music device and runs out. So the student calls him and tells him, "Wait," and Jo-man stops the music. And we go back in time and see the girl who was sitting with Jigen. And her name is Shin Mira, and she tells Jigen, "I don't want to be involved with you. We have to stop seeing each other." And she leaves him and walks away, but Jigen keeps calling her, but there are two guards taking him outside. And we return to the present time and see Jigen hitting a strong punch, and Lee Tae-song attacks him again, and hits him a strong punch in his body. Jigen then remembers Shin Mira walking away, and Jigen falls to the ground, and Lee Tae-song runs and wants to hit Jigen with all his strength, but Jo-man calls Jigen, so Jigen wakes up and finds the leg approaching him, so Jigen dodges Lee Tae-song's hit and goes back. And Jigen jumps up and hits Lee Tae-song a strong punch that knocks him to the ground, and the students are shocked when they see Lee Tae-song fallen on the ground, and Lee Tae-song doesn't know how this happened, so Kim tells them that's it, and Jigen's friends are happy, and Lee Tae-song gets up and says, "I was going to win." So Jigen hits him a strong kick in his face. So Lee Tae-song tells him, "Stop what you're doing," but Jigen attacks him and hits him another strong punch, and Jigen keeps hitting him with kicks in his body. So the students are shocked by what Jigen is doing and say he's going to kill him. And Jigen is feeling intense anger. So Jungmin calls Jigen. So Kim's men say Jigen is too excited. What he's doing could be dangerous. But Kim responds to them and tells them, "Jigen caught him. I don't know who to put him with. Let's make more rounds." So Jigen's friends run to him and hold him to calm him down. And Jungmin tells him that's enough. So Jigen comes back to his senses. And the person monitoring is upset because Jigen won, and says, "I have to bet on him, and whoever brings me money is who I'll stay with. It's possible this person could be on my side." Jigen stands there with his friends. Then Kim comes to him and says, "Congratulations. I knew you would win. I want to see what you'll do in the next fight. I'll send you the fight fee." After that, Jigen leaves them and exits the place. So his friends run after him, and Jo-man tells him, "Wait, I'll get you a meal since you won." Jungmin tells him, "Yeah, if you hadn't come, we would have gotten beaten up." But Jigen pushes them away and distances himself from them. Jungmin and Jo-man are confused by what Jigen did, and Jigen walks alone. While walking, he notices the Elecon group, and sees the host asking Shin Mira what she thinks of her fans. Shin Mira tells him, "I know they see our hard work despite the shortcomings in some aspects." Jungmin and Jo-man are standing looking at Jigen, and Jungmin asks Jo-man, "What is he looking at?" Jo-man says, "Isn't that the Elecon group?" Jungmin says, "So Elecon's song is what made Jigen act strangely. Maybe he hates the group." Jo-man says, "No way he could hate the group." Jungmin asks, "Are you an Elecon fan?" Jo-man says, "Yeah, I became an Elecon fan because of Shin Mira." Jungmin says, "That's what I expected, but I like the young member Rain." Jo-man asks, "Are you an Elecon fan?" Jungmin says, "Yeah." Then Jigen goes to the sea, with Jungmin and Jo-man watching, and Jungmin says he was going through a lot of pressure. Jigen goes to sit alone, so Jo-man tells Jungmin, "Let's go talk to him." Jungmin says he looks upset that he knows two failures like us. Jo-man says, "Are we going to stay silent like this?" Jungmin says there's someone who can help him. Jo-man asks who. We go to Aram, who is sleeping, and suddenly her phone rings, and a message comes saying, "Can you come to the beach? I'm there." Aram gets up to get dressed and goes out, but makes sure her family is sleeping. She looks at her father and finds him sleeping, so she moves quietly. Suddenly, her father wakes up and asks, "Where are you going?" Aram is surprised when she sees this, but he was dreaming and goes back to sleep. Aram leaves after that. We go to Jo-man, who asks, "Jungmin, who did you call?" Jungmin says, "I called Aram." Jo-man is surprised and says, "What, you talk to girls?" Jungmin says, "Aram doesn't know that I'm the one talking to her. I gave Aram's phone to Jijin so she could talk to him, but in the end, the phone stayed with me. I replied to Aram's messages as if I were Jijin. I know I should return it, but..." Jo-man says, "You like Aram?" Jungmin cries and says, "I had a crush on her, but now I know who she loves." Jo-man hits him and says, "Then, return the phone." Jungmin goes to Jijin and says, "This phone." Jijin is surprised when he sees the phone with him. Jungmin gets on his knees and apologizes, saying, "I'm sorry I was talking in your place. I sent her a message for the last time, so don't do this to her." He leaves him and walks away. Jijin takes the phone and opens it, finding a message saying, "I'll arrive soon." He's surprised when he sees it. Then he looks and finds Aram coming to him. After that she reaches Jijin, with Jo-man and Jungmin standing and watching everything happen. Jungmin is surprised when he finds that Aram actually came. Jo-man says they look good together. Jo-man tells Jungmin it's past 12 o'clock. Jungmin says, "Let's go home." Jo-man says, "What do you think about coming to my house? I have games ready. Let's leave Jijin for a while." The two of them leave after that. Jijin sits with Aram, so Aram writes to him saying, "I was surprised when you sent me a message." Jijin doesn't know what to do, so Aram is confused by his behavior. Jijin writes to her, saying, "You came to my mind." Aram says, "The sound of the waves is beautiful." Jijin says, "Yeah." She asks, "Do you mean you come here?" He says, "No, this is my first time coming to this place." "When do you sleep?" Aram says, "At 10 o'clock. I woke up from sleep to the sound of your message." Jijin is surprised when he hears this, and tells her, "I'll walk you home." Aram holds his hand and says, "No, I don't want to go home." Then Jijin goes to get something for them to drink. Aram takes the drink from him and thanks him. Jijin asks, "Why don't you want to go home?" Aram says, "I feel like home is like a prison. I was surprised when your message came today. You sent me a message before we slept before. I was surprised then, when you sent me good night." Jijin is surprised when he hears this, and opens the phone to make sure and indeed finds a message saying that to Aram. Jijin then knows that Jungmin is the reason. "That day wasn't good, but this message made me strong," and Aram cries. She tells him, "I wanted to ask you why you don't talk." When Jijin sees her message, he remembers Shinmira when she left him, and security guards grabbed him to prevent him from entering. One of them tells him, "Leave before we call the police, because this is stalking." But then, Shinmira comes back to him and hugs him, and cries, telling him, "I practice separation a lot, but after seeing you I couldn't do it. I can't let you go. I don't know what to do." Jijin hugs her, and tells her, "I'll always be by your side. I don't want you to cry." But the president of Bongsin Company sees them. We return to the present time and Jijin writes to Aram, saying, "Some people's words seep into your soul and stop everything." Aram says, "That's philosophical talk. I don't know what happened, but it can't be a simple reason, like my reason." Jijin asks, "And you?" Aram says, "My father's dirty words affected me. The way my father talks, I discovered it exists inside me. That's stupid, isn't it?" Jijin asks, "Don't you want to walk?" Aram says, "Yeah." While they're walking, Aram tells Jijin there are many people because this is a busy street. Jijin says, "Because it's Saturday night." We see a group of young men talking to a person, telling him, "What are you doing here in someone else's neighborhood?" They tell him, "You're a student drinking alcohol and acting like a grown-up." One of the people standing says they don't check IDs. He tells them, "I want to be mature." The person gets annoyed when he hears this and says, "I can't sit quietly." One of them asks, "Kang Do-il, where are your friends?" Another one says, "It would be easy for you to start a fight." Kang Do-il tells them, "I let them rest, because it's comfortable for us too." One of them says, "If you don't want to die, leave here, because I have a desire to kill you." He says, "Why?" "Because you got beaten before, you're still upset." The person gets angry at him and flips the thing in front of him. Kang Do-il gets up and hits them with the table, and their leader falls to the ground. Jijin and Aram are walking towards the fight, and he stops to watch Kang Do-il fighting them. Kang Do-il hits the first one and runs from them after that, but they chase after him. While Kang Do-il is running, he sees Jijin and Aram in front of him, so Kang Do-il greets Jijin. Then, Kang Do-il calls out to Jijin, runs to him and says, "I was coming to visit you myself," and hugs Jijin. But Jijin is confused by what Kang Do-il is doing. But then the people who were fighting with Kang Do-il come. But Kang Do-il tells them, "You can't see if you look at him, we're friends." Jijin is surprised when he hears this, but these people get angry, and Jijin stands in front of Aram to protect her. The first one attacks Kang Do-il, but he dodges his attack and hits him hard in the face. Another one attacks Jijin, but Jijin dodges his hit and strikes him hard. Someone comes from behind Kang Do-il, wanting to hit him, but Kang Do-il kicks him in the stomach. The two of them start hitting them with all their strength. Aram thinks and says, "I thought he was standing on a high wall, but I discovered he breaks through walls to reach another person. He looks cold, but he's not cold at all." Everyone enters, fights for themselves, but he enters for others. Suddenly, someone comes from behind, Aram wanting to attack Jijin with his weapon, but Aram screams. Jijin looks at her, and Kang Duil calls out to Jijin. Jijin drops to the ground and dodges the young man's strike from behind. Kang Duil runs to kick him in the face, and the person falls to the ground. Then Kang Duil asks him, how dare you do that? The person curses him, but Kang Duil kicks him in the face. With that, Jijin and Kang Duil manage to beat them. Kang Duil tells Jijin, don't you see that we're in sync with each other? We managed to beat them. Jijin looks at Aram and finds her crying. Kang Duil says, what, are you scared or something? Let's go. But Jijin attacks him and hits him hard in the face. Kang Duil is surprised by what he did. Jijin hits him and strikes him hard in the stomach. Kang Duil falls to the ground and tells him, sorry for surprising you, but I was excited to see you. Jijin attacks again and kicks him, but Kang Duil apologizes to Jijin. Jijin leaves him and doesn't hit him. Kang Duil tells him, I don't want to fight with you. I know I was harsh with you, but that was a test, and you passed with flying colors. I want to be your friend. I want you to be with me. But Jijin pushes him away and takes Aram and walks away. But Kang Duil walks after them and tells Jijin, you two have become very close. I'm happy because I was the reason for that. I have to return the favor. If you don't have a place to go, follow me, because from what I see you're walking without knowing where you're going. There's a place we can go to. Jijin and Aram look at each other and agree to go with him. They arrive at the place and find many people sitting there. Kang Duil goes to someone named Byungjo and tells him, you have customers, but he's sleeping. When he wakes up, Kang Duil asks, when did you come, and who are these with you? Kang Duil says, these are my friends. Byungjo says, your type of friends has changed. These with you look nice. Sit wherever you want. While Byungjo is typing on the keyboard, Jijin is focused on him. We go after that to Aram's father, who wakes up and sees Aram's bedroom door open. So he goes to check on her but doesn't find her in the room, so he gets upset and looks for her throughout the whole house but can't find her. The place where they're sitting is a spot for people who want to hang out together, and Kang Duil sits with Jijon and Aram. And Kang Duil tells Jijon, I'll give you permission to come here, and will this be enough to repay you for what you did? And Kang Duil leaves them and tells them, I'm going to sleep. And Jijon writes to Aram and tells her, you were scared. So Aram tells him, no, I'm fine. Don't you want to read the manhwa? So Jijon agrees and they go get the manhwa they're going to read. They sit together and read from the manhwa. Then Jijon looks at her. So Aram puts the manhwa over her face. Then Byungjo comes to them and gives them drinks and tells them it's on him, and tells Jijon, this is the first time I see friends of Kang Duil like you, because he doesn't have real friends, just people he fights with. And they're both surprised when they hear this. I know this catches your attention, but I'm already used to him. Sure, it was hard at first, but Kang Duil still hasn't accepted it. After I lost my fingers, I'm sorry, I told you strange things. I want you to take care of Kang Duil. And it becomes 3:30 after midnight, and Aram falls asleep, and her phone rings, so Jijon notices the phone ringing. Then Aram wakes up to the phone sound, and when she looks at the phone, she finds there are 3 calls, and tells Jijon, this is my father, I have to go, so Jijon tells her, I'll walk you home. Then they leave the place and Jijon walks her all the way to her house, and Aram tells him these were hours of freedom, thank you Jijon, and she leaves him and walks away. And when she gets to the house, her father opens the door for her, and he's angry. And when Jijon sees him, he finds him yelling at his daughter, and the father yells at his daughter and tells her, do you know what time it is? Do you know how many times I called you? And her father curses at her, and tells her, what do you look like? So Aram looks at him, but he hits her hard on her face, and tells her, how dare you look at me like that? What do you think I am? And Jijon is shocked when he sees this in front of him, and her father grabs her by her clothes and tells her, how dare you go out without me knowing? Where were you and what were you doing? And her father yells at her, but Jijon approaches them, and her father is surprised when he sees him. So he curses at him, then tells him, so you're the one who was with her. I won't let you go. But Aram holds on to her father, so her father tells her, what are you doing? And curses at her. And Jijon stands there, not knowing what to do. So her father tells her, you're with him now. So Aram cries and speaks for the first time and tells Jijon, go away. So Jijon is shocked when he hears this. So her father hits her and tells her, let me go from here. Let me kill him. So Aram tells Jijon, go away. Please go away. And Jijon stands there not knowing how to act. So Jijon thinks and says, I ran away. I learned how to run away before. I ran from the past and couldn't solve it, and I came here but couldn't face it.